It's the Sports Groove 2.0 on something other than your radio. Your boy Mark Gray back at it, and I'm joined by the Fox that rocks the box on South Beach when he breaks down the sports scene in South Florida. He is my man, Jeff Fox, from the Sports Brothers, formerly, and now doing his own thing with Gigi Fontaine, the Jeff Fox Show. And Jeff, unbelievable game 3 by Jimmy Butler. I mean, it's one thing to do a triple-double. It's one thing to score 40 points. And it's another thing altogether to score your 40 points on the shooting of 20 field goals totally. So when you look at that game in the pantheon of Miami sports history, which does have a legacy of big postseason moments in all sports, where you rank Jimmy Butler's performance in Game 3?
Has to be one of the all-time greatest performances that I've ever seen in a playoff sport and in any scenario. And simply because I thought the Miami Heat had no shot. I mean, I would have mortgaged the house on this. It was like, this was a guarantee. To quote Charles Barkley on that, I guarantee that the Miami Heat would not win game number 3 of the NBA Finals. Not with no Goran Dragic, not with no Bam Adebayo. There was no way possible for them to win this game. Yet Jimmy Butler, for all of his bravado, for all of his toughness, for all of his intestinal fortitude, he found a way to lead this team. And I still can't believe it. This reminds me of one of the greatest upsets I ever saw in the NBA. And it happened, I think, during the Jordan era when the Chicago Bulls came to Miami to play the Miami Heat, who only fielded 8 players. And I think it was during the 72-10 Bulls season. I could be wrong. But somehow that team, led by Rex Chapman, shocked Michael Jordan and the Bulls. I've never seen anything like this. I want to give all the credit to the Miami Heat, but I look at the Lakers and Anthony Davis and his 15 points and the foul trouble. I don't know. I'm from the Heat culture, man. I don't know.
Yeah, but you can't. There's no way at all, Jeff, for you to absolve to take anything away from Jimmy Butler because Anthony Davis didn't show up. Let's pump the brakes on excuses.
Yeah, I just can't do it. I mean, I'm looking for a reason. I'm looking for logic here.
All right, let me be the voice of reason and logic here. You can't do it, dude. You can be reasonable and logical with, say, the Marlins. Okay, right. I get that. But not with the Heat. This is a question of will, and you saw LeBron when he was down there playing for you guys, and I'll grant it, he was the key contributor to 2 world championships, but that first one does stick out because he didn't put his will on the team, and I just wonder about that sometimes. Everybody wants to talk about the greatness that was Michael Jordan. He had a greater will. And to me, that is what separates he and LeBron. What do you make of that? Just willing your team and letting them know, all right, we got a chance to put a foot on the team's throat, and then we don't do that. And this is a consistent theme with him.
Yeah, you're right. It's that so-called killer instinct. I just don't see it all the time in LeBron James. You always saw it in Michael Jordan. Every single time he was challenged, when he was challenged by that great Phoenix team in the NBA Finals, when the Seattle Supersonics suddenly, refound themselves in the NBA Finals against the Bulls and won 2 straight games. He knows when to stop the bleeding. He knows how to do it. And if he has to do it by his damn self, then he certainly will. With LeBron, I go back to Game 6 in Boston, one of the greatest performances I've ever seen, when LeBron had that, saved the Miami Heat in that series. And then you also look at the first time around against the Golden State Warriors when he and Kyrie Irving had those back-to-back 40-point games when they were just simply magnificent. But he doesn't do it all the time. And then he does stuff like what he did last game when he walked off the court with 10 seconds left. He gives people stuff to hold against him. But make no mistake, year 17, he's still the greatest player in the game today, bar none.
And that's what's the most frustrating thing about him, the fact that he can't convey the will to the people around him to show up every single day. And, those great players who do that are often admonished. Kobe wasn't the best friends with a lot of people. MJ certainly alienated a lot of people, but they were able to elevate the troops. And that to me is about the only blemish that you could say on LeBron's career is the impact. Great guy. Everybody loves him, socially conscious and the whole bit. But when it comes down to imposing his will on his team, I think sometimes he's guilty of wanting to be liked or loved. And you look at Kobe and Mike, they gotta be less than a damn if you like to love him. We trying to win a chip. And, I don't give a damn if you don't like me in the process. You could be a champion because I'm in your ass like that. And I just don't see that LeBron getting in his teammates' ass enough in these moments, which lead to cracks, which give you guys a plausible confidence going into a game like this tonight.
If the Miami Heat win tonight, and I doubt it seriously, I'm just, again, I'm going by logic. I think what I saw tonight, what I saw in Game 3 was an Ali Sonny Liston event. That was a once-in-a-lifetime event. That's not going to happen again.
Tragic homer.
Logic says it doesn't happen again.
Can I give you reasons why it might?
Tell me one reason why it might happen.
You shot the ball like crap. Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson could not throw the ball in the ocean from the legal deck of the Love Boat. They making shots. The Lakers get blown out. They make those shots tonight, or half the shots that they miss. And Jimmy Butler is reasonably as good as he was or near where he was, because what is Spoelstra say? In order for this team to accomplish what they want, they got to do something extraordinary. Well, let's just say that Jimmy Butler is outstanding, and so too are Hero and Robinson. You got a chance to win that game in the last 2 minutes. And I'll tell you right now, I'm looking at the brilliance of Spoelstra on the sidelines. I could see that happening. Now, I think you're a little bit too close to it and don't want to believe, but therein lies a DMV basketball cipher's point of view.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think Eric Spoelstra is, you take Pop out of the equation, the best coach in the NBA. I just think he is right now. He's on top of his game. But there is a huge difference when it comes to the top two players in the series, AD and LeBron James. If they play the way they're supposed to, and you get, 10 points here or there from the likes of Morris and Kuzma, and Caldwell Pope, the Lakers should walk away with this. This is your classic David against Goliath. It doesn't bode well for David. Only divine intervention helped him in the first battle.
Well, maybe I've seen that when divine intervention intervened when Villanova took down Georgetown. I've seen that. I've seen divine intervention with the Red Sox coming back against the Yankees from down 3-love. You know what I mean? I've seen divine intervention with the Falcons blowing a 28-point Super Bowl lead. We've seen this before, bro. And again, it doesn't happen to teams who have people who can impose their will, or there's something fluky going on. We at that will moment right now. And if LeBron,
I guarantee you this, AD is going to show up tonight. AD is going to show up big. Yeah, you're going to get 30 points from him, 35 points from AD. He is that good. And if he shows up, and I just don't want to get my Heat fans' hopes up, because they're down here in Miami. There is Miami Heat fever everywhere.
And there should
all of a sudden, people suddenly believe after the first two games, we were like, you know what? We made it to the finals. We overachieved. We beat the Bucks. We beat the Celtics. Maybe Embiid or the Greek Freak or somebody will say, hey, that's a great place for me to go. That's what we were thinking. Nobody thought in our wildest dreams that this team would win Game 3. And now here we are with the prospect of them winning Game 4, and this being a 3-game series in a brawl for it all. I never saw this coming, but I think the Lakers will stomp on their throats tonight.
Well, they should, but again, Spoelstra ain't gonna let it happen, and it's that culture of toughness that you all have been talking about. That I'm thinking, if you're a Laker fan, you gotta be mindful of because it's rearing its ugly head. That's Jeff Fox from
I do got one more thing I want to add before we go. Eric Spoelstra has one chip that could really, really blow up in his favor that has yet to show up in this series, and that is Duncan Robinson.
You're right.
Duncan Robinson is capable of giving you 8 to 10 3-pointers on any given night, and he's due for a breakout game. Hasn't happened yet. He's been rushing his shots, but he is a key factor in all of this.
Jeff Fox, the man who rocks the box on the South Beach sports scene with the Jeff Fox Show. He and Gigi Fontaine holding it down. So you need to check him out wherever you download or get your podcast offerings. Now I want to shift gears and talk a little bit about how surprising the Marlins were during the course of, this entire truncated baseball season. Derek Jeter goes from being hated to being revered during a stretch of 60 games. What do you make of that?
I have Marlins fever, and I've had it before. And when we got the Cubs in the first round, I knew that they wanted no part of this because, we all know what happened a few years ago. The Marlins have never lost a playoff series. We're undefeated in Major League Baseball playoff history. We've never lost a series. We've made the playoffs twice. We won the World Series twice. Now, this team is near the bottom of the league in statistics, but they do have fate on their side. They did knock off the Cubs again, and this afternoon they take on the Atlanta Braves, and anything could happen. Don't tell this team that they can't do it.
Yeah, and this time the Braves won't be able to blame Eric Gregg on anything that happens at the during the playoff series, because remember that season where Eric Gregg had the expanded strike zone.
Yes,
yeah,
Ivan Hernandez.
Exactly.
Love you, Miami.
Yeah, how about that? So again, but
There's
the Marlins are fast track, and they do give us long-suffering Orioles fans hope. We can see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it isn't necessarily an oncoming train. So give me a little sense of where you think the Marlins are right now in their overall development. Is this just a truncated, freaky thing, or do they have an infrastructure in place to be relevant again consistently?
Yeah, it all starts with pitching. We had to deal with the tragedy of losing, who was it? Hernandez or Fernandez a couple of years
Alex
ago.
Fernandez, yeah.
Alex Fernandez, yeah. And that was tragic, man. That set us back a little bit. But they've got this guy, Sixto Sanchez, and he's a hell of a pitcher. And they also have, again, just a bunch of scrappy guys that are, happy to be here in the big leagues. I think of a guy they just brought up, young shortstop, Jazz Chisholm, who's from Nassau in the Bahamas. I mean, an unlikely story to make it in Major League Baseball. Hit a big home run against the Yankees down the stretch to help the Marlins get in the playoffs. They've got a bunch of guys like that, guys that are fighters, not necessarily long on talent, but, I believe in Don Mattingly, man. I think he's going to get the best out of these guys, and he's done a great job as a manager.
And to that point, talk about that Yankee way that seems to be permeating South Beach. If you know anything about the culture on the East Coast, everybody works hard, freezes their asses off for 25 to 40 years, and then they cash out in their homes and they move to South Florida, which is seemingly what Donnie Baseball and Derek Jeter have done, although they got the mega bucks.
Yeah.
But do you sense that there's a Yankee way amongst the managerial style of the Marlins right now?
Without a doubt. Derek Jeter brings that winning culture. He brings that winning attitude. to this franchise. And even though when he got here at first, we didn't give a damn who he was or what he accomplished, he was not well liked. But bringing in Don Mattingly, I thought was a great move. And some of that Yankee way has seeped into our organization. And that's not a bad thing because, again, a lot of transplants here in South Florida, they know how it started up there. And we're still relatively in our infancy, so to speak, when it comes to a legacy in Major League Baseball. Doesn't hurt to have 2 World Series titles.
And it doesn't hurt to be Miami. It also doesn't hurt to have understanding of how you build through the minors, because you guys are never going to be able to pay that big free agent money, but you build through, take care of yours, and, you can do a lot worse than play in Miami. Although, did they get rid of the monstrosity in the outfield yet?
I do believe that thing is gone.
Okay.
We
don't know what the hell that was, but it's just something that was an enormous waste of money and an incredible distraction. Of all the great things that you could be distracted by in Miami, you should not have been ever distracted by that thing.
By the way, it's just been an abundance of riches for us sports fans down here.
Yeah, we get the story.
With the Heat and the Marlins. And now here come the Miami Hurricanes, number 7 in the country, back to relevancy. And they have Clemson this weekend in college football. And what could be a real dogfight. This is the first time that I would say that the Miami Hurricanes have a fighting chance against the Giants of Clemson. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I am too, man. I wish I could be out there at some football games, but we know how that works. That is Jeff Fox, my man from South Beach. Don't forget, check out the Fox that rocks the box in South Florida. He and Gigi Fontaine hold it down on the Jeff Fox Show, and you can find that wherever you download your podcast via your mobile devices and all that kind of stuff. Hey, no Fox, doubt. And we're gonna talk to you definitely after the series, win, lose, or draw. But then again, if there's a draw, we may have a bigger story that we won't want to talk about. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
All right, take care of yourself, my brother. Thanks a lot for the love, as always.
Peace and our love, man. Appreciate you very much. Thank you.
Stick with us. We got more of the Sports Group 2.0 coming at you on something other than the radio.